Hello, welcome back to another video. Today we're going to talk about all the comics that I read in the month of May, and I'm going to give some quick impressions on some issues, and then I'm going to do a top five once we get to the end, because that's just fun. It's fun kind of ranking, reflecting on the month of comics that I've read, and then, having a rank in there. And really, the top five are all really solid. We're going to start off with just some kind of like I said, like quick hits, impressions on some issues. We'll kick it off with Hyde Street #6 from Ghost Machine. So it's Jeff Johns writing, and this is a guest artist. It's Francis Portela. Now I forget, issue 5 was also a different artist. I forget if it was the same artist as this, but the first 4 were Yvonne Race, and like that's who I want to see on this title. So while I enjoyed the story in this issue, the art was a little jarring as far as the different styles. I like, if different artists happen. I do like when it's a little not as jarring, because I understand those schedules can get in the way, but I don't enjoy it. So I liked the issue. Just would like to see more Yvonne Race on the title. So all right. Next up, there's Deadly Tales of the Gunslinger #6. Enjoy this series. I've talked about a good Western set, Gunslinger, written by Jimmy Palmiotti, and art is by Patrick Reynolds on this one. Again, there was issues 4 and 5 were a fill-in, and then we're back to Patrick Reynolds on this one. And I really prefer Patrick's art for the title. It leans into the gritty nature of it, and that's what I like seeing. They're not self-contained stories like Palmiotti's work on Jonah Hex, but they're fairly contained. Like the issues 4 and 5 were different artists, and they were a connected 2-issue story, and then there are elements of there's this character that's kind of following the Gunslinger. See where that one goes. Absolute Martian Manhunter next up. I really enjoyed this series. The only downside I will say is that I read another Dennis Camp issue right before I read this one, and it was later at night, and I probably should not have read them back to back, but I did. I really enjoy Absolute Martian Manhunter, and I have a feeling that this one is one that I think people should read in a trade. There's a lot going on. It's the kind of comic where, like, I know I missed some things. I need to read it again. But while I'm reading, I was like, this is just a well put together comic. I enjoyed what I read, even though I was tired. But yeah, it's of the absolute titles. I think that one's the most intriguing of them all, and it's the one that I'm enjoying. I mean, I did, to be fair, it's the only one I'm reading right now, but it's the one that has my interest. Absolute Batman, Superman. I'm gonna trade weight on those. Solid stuff, but just can't buy everything. Next up, there's We're Taking Everyone Down With Us. This is by Matthew Rosenberg and Stefano Landini on the writing and the art. This one continues to be a really fun story about a supervillain who was killed, and there's everyone that is after this guy, and he has transferred his consciousness into a robot, and this robot is his daughter's protector. So it's his daughter and the robot version of this villain, and it's really fun. It's really I really enjoyed it. There's humor throughout, but it's not overwhelming humor. It's not get in the way humor. It's just the dynamic between the daughter and this robot who the daughter doesn't know that her father is actually inside the robot yet. I'm sure that'll come out. It's a 6-issue miniseries. They're on issue 3. Again, can trade weight on it, but it's really fun. And here's another one that's a 6-issue series, and I would recommend probably trade weighting as well. But Bug Wars #4 came out, and a lot of fun. Continues to be a brutally crazy story about a kid who is, shrunk down to size, and he's in this world of the bugs that are in his backyard. It's him trying to convince the bugs they shouldn't go after this giant stomper who is legendary in their world, and the giant stomper is this kid's big brother. The brutality of it is really entertaining, and it's just this idea that everything is happening. This big story is happening in such a small backyard environment, and it's just a lot of fun. And then okay, here's one Void Rivals, number 19 from the Energon universe. Robert Kirkman writing, and the new artist on the series is Connor Hughes. And this is an example of how the art kind of seamlessly transitions from it was Lorenzo De Felici on the first 18 issues of the series, and then here in issue 19, it's kind of a smooth transition into the art change. And this issue is all about the character Skuxoid. So if you've been reading Void Rivals, Skuxoid has been the kind of the star of the show, the not like the main character of the series, but anytime he's in the comic, you enjoy it. And this one's all about Skuxoid, and I won't ruin anything, but if you've enjoyed Skuxoid's journey so far in the series, you're gonna love that issue. All right, so here's another one. Batman Dark Patterns. Talked about this one in an unboxing I did. I unboxed a original art page from Hayden Sherman. This is the issue 6, which is the closeout to the second case that Batman is working on in this series. It's the first 3 issues of the first case. 4, 5, and 6 was the second case. I enjoyed both of them. Probably enjoyed the first 3 issues a little more, but I did really enjoy this second one as well. And you actually kind of learned that there's some things that are. I initially thought that they are, not connected. They're just like random cases that this Batman is working on, but they actually are connected. And I like that. I enjoyed it for the cases, that it's kind of a self-contained, every few issues is a case that Batman's working on. But I also like that there is a common thread through. It'll be all 12. So definitely recommend this one. We'll talk about another Batman issue in a minute here. But Dark Patterns, if you're looking for a good, a really impressive series right now that features Batman, a classic kind of take on Batman, that's the one to read. From the Energon universe, the Energon universe special came out. This is it's kind of like the Energon universe annual that they do, and there was a free comic book day issue, which is the exact same issue as this, but in their savvy wisdom of giving us variant covers, there's this Danny Warren Johnson cover was the one you had to buy. But I love this. His story in here is all about Jazz, the character Jazz, and how Jazz discovers music, and that he actually is in love with jazz, the form of music. And it's a good story that doesn't have to be. It's not really connected to the main series, but it's just I feel like it's a story that Danny Warren Johnson had in his head, and he just wanted to get it out, and this was like the perfect place for that, because we don't really know when it takes place, but you see the Autobots on Earth. It doesn't matter. It's just a fun story that doesn't have to be connected, at least yet. The star of the show in this issue is the G.I. Joe portion, and the G.I. Joe portion features the what I believe is going to be a great dynamic pairing of Hound, the Autobot Hound, and then Clutch from the Joes. I love the portrayal of Clutch, and I love that's the G.I. Joe series. We can talk about that a little later, because the main issue of the series came out this month as well. But I love that they're taking the time to develop these lesser characters, because people want Snake Eyes. They want Snake Eyes, Storm Shadow, and the ninjas and all that stuff. And that's coming. All of that is coming, I'm sure. But I'm glad they're taking their time to develop characters. Like I've said it before, Duke, never a favorite. Duke is awesome in the Energon universe. So I think for the long haul, if you're willing to read these stories, I think you're going to be rewarded by caring about these characters, and they're doing it with purpose. And I'm on board. But yeah, the Energon Universe special, very fun. Now, before we get to the top 5, I am not a negative person. Now, I can usually find something positive to say about a comic that I read, because there's a reason why I probably picked that comic up. So whatever appealed to me probably still appeals to me, but there are letdowns currently in comic books, and I need to talk about this one. And I'm not here to just be like to slam it for just to be negative, but Hush 2 is out. The latest issue is it's issue 160, but it's part 3 of this new Hush story, and it reteams the original team on Hush. Jeff Loeb, Jim Lee, Scott Williams, Alex Sinclair, like the whole Hush 2 creative team is on this one. And I wish they would have maybe gotten a different writer, because it's fun to see the Jim Lee art. What more can be said? Well, I can't really say anything about Jim Lee that hasn't been said already. It's great to see him on interiors. However, what he's doing is the story. The characters are out of character. There's so far two of the three issues deal with Jason Todd and Batman saves Joker's life, and I think it was the first issue. And then Jason Todd shows up, and he's pissed off that Batman saved the Joker. Now, we've seen this so many times. We've seen Jason Todd be upset about the choices that Batman has made when it comes to the Joker. So, I mean, I don't know if this is a big part of the 12 issues that are coming, but like right now, the first two issues, like I don't find myself engaged in the story. I don't really know where it's going. Random characters show up that kind of makes no sense. Like Batman is fighting this is in the middle of a fight, and then in crashes Damian with Bane, and it makes no sense other than to just have a cool looking page of Damian and Bane, but it just doesn't make sense. Like the characters are here just to look cool, and I find myself not caring. So this was on my pull list. I'm taking it off because I don't know, because it's hard to see. And again, I don't want to harp on this, but like I think people need to know about it. If it's something that you're interested in reading, probably the best way to read this is when this 6 issues is collected. Read that as like a fun, just popcorn kind of comic. Like look at the pretty art and enjoy it that way. But I can't quite figure out who this story is for. Like if the person who like their favorite Batman story is Hush, I don't know. Like is this satisfying? Is this a satisfying sequel for them? I'd be curious. I'd be curious to know what other people think of this series so far. But yeah, read the 6 issues when it comes out, because the way that this is set up is, from my understanding, it's going to be 12 issues that they're doing, but it's going to be 6 issues now, and then in like a year or something, I'm not down the line at some point in time, we're going to get the other 6 issues, and it's going to be if this is what they're delivering in the first 6 issues so far, it's going to be a hard sell on getting pumped again for the back half of these issues. So I don't know. Like I think they'd be better off just releasing this quickly, get it all out of the way, because I don't know. But yeah, the art is fun. It's good Jim Lee art, but the characterizations are just not interesting. So anyway, I don't like being negative. I really don't. And I do enjoy the art. That said, that out of the way, let's get to the top 5 of what I read this month. And these are just they're issues that stood out from everything else that I read. When I looked at the stack of what I read this month, these are the issues that jumped out at me. Like here's a new number 1 from Image. It's called Exquisite Corpses. It's from James Tynan and Michael Walsh is doing the art, and Jordi Belair on colors. So there's like 3 creators I enjoy reading. Michael Walsh did the Frankenstein story recently, and this is a really it's like a double-sized issue. It sets up the fact that there's this power struggle for America. There are 13 families who control everything. It's like kind of happens in the shadows. And every so often they have a tournament to determine who is actually going to be in charge of this like shadow type government. And what they do is they find a small town. They pay off the sheriff. That's what happens at the beginning of this issue. You see a sheriff leaving town. They've given him like $10 million to just leave, and then they block off the town is on Halloween, and each family has a representative that they will drop into this town that is blocked off, and whoever wins from the 13 killers, whoever is victorious and kills the other 12, that family will then be the rulers of the government for the next, I think it was like 5 years. I think they said so. So this issue, it sets up who each of the 13 killers are, and there's some throughout you see some of the family members who are like hiring these killers. You see some of the town citizens of the town and what their daily lives are and how they're going to get tangled up in this. But the idea is they have to, there's this tournament going on. All these killers are after each other. They will also, many of the townsfolk are going to die because they're just be collateral damage. And they also do the 13 families do like side bets to see like how many people their representative can kill. It's a dark story, but it's intriguing. I think it's interesting. I enjoyed the setup, really enjoyed the art. I don't know if this is an ongoing. I feel like it has to be probably like a limited series, because it seems like a kind of a contained idea of like this tournament is happening and who's gonna be victorious. But first issue was really good. I would recommend it. Next up, we're going to go to, talked about this a little earlier, but it's G.I. Joe number 7. So this is the start of the second arc, written by Joshua Williamson, and the art is Andrea Milana. Now, they did the art for the Cobra Commander miniseries. So it sounds like what they're doing is Tom Riley was the artist on Duke. He did the first 6 issues, and now Milana is going to do the second story arc, and then Tom Riley will come back for the third arc. And I think that's good. I think that's a good way to, Duke and Cobra Commander are there. Those miniseries were like the pillars of the 4 miniseries that set up leading to G.I. Joe number 1. So those were the 2 best series. So to have those creative teams involved on the main G.I. Joe side, I like that. I like that approach. I think it's a good way to keep the artists who started the G.I. Joe side of things, keep them involved. And the art is good. I enjoy this. The issue is all about Beachhead. Another example of, I talked about the portrayal of like characters like Duke and Clutch. Beachhead is he was the one I always loved as a kid. I loved having the action figure. I loved the look of him. So by taking the time to highlight these characters, it gets you more invested. Like, it doesn't, leave Snake Eyes to the sidelines as long as possible, in my opinion. I love Snake Eyes. It would be great to see him in the series, but I'm in no hurry. Like, let's get to these other characters, because G.I. Joe is full of, like, G.I. Joe and Cobra. There's so many awesome characters they could feature that I feel like do that. Get them involved, and then we'll bring in Snake Eyes, and then it'll be everyone will be happy. So let's not rush the appearance of Snake Eyes, is what I'm saying. So this issue all about the the Night Force team that Hawk was putting together in the Energon special from last year. You saw that there was a kind of a shadow team that Hawk was putting together, and it's led by Flint and Lady J. And that's what Beachhead seems to be. He's going to be part of that team. So I like that. I like that they're putting together a team that will go on other missions, like kind of like more of a stealth type team. So that's really cool. All right. Next up, here is a series that has been consistently solid from issue 1. It's Redcoat. Redcoat number 12 came out, written by Jeff Johns, art by Brian Hitch. Again, another Ghost Machine title. I love this issue. I love Simon Pure, Redcoat. I'm a big fan of like the Civil War era. I think it's a really interesting period in American history. And this issue takes place during the Civil War, and there is a character who is introduced. He's been showing up in other Ghost Machine issues, like kind of cameo appearances here and there, and he's been referenced, I think, before. A character by the name of the Northerner, and the Northerner is a time traveler, and what I like about this one is, so far the issues have kind of been chance encounters that Simon Pure has, with like Annie Oakley and Johnny Appleseed, and all really fun stories, but they're kind of like he's like meandering through time. Where this one is the Northerner is kind of seeking out Simon Pure. Like, he has like he knows about Simon, and he needs to interact with him. We'll put it that way. But really solid issue. You find out that I don't want to give that away. I don't read the series. But there's just it's really good. There's a if there are time travelers and immortals on like the you have to assume that there are more out there. And Simon Pure is not the only one, and it's him having his eyes open to kind of what else is potentially going on out there. And yeah, really, really solid issue. I think this is like a 3-issue story arc. Really awesome, and I would recommend that series for sure. I think the first trade is out of the first 6 issues, but if they're going to do some of the deluxe hardcover books like they did for Geiger, maybe wait for those, because they're beautiful collected editions, and the first 12 issues of Redcoat are going to be a really, really solid read. So I would recommend that. All right, next up. Now this series continues to be one that it just has been kind of blowing my mind, and I've really been enjoying it. It's called Assorted Crisis Events. This is issue number 3, another Dennis Camp issue. This is the other issue I was talking about when I read this issue, and then I read Absolute Martian Manhunter, and I should not have done that back to back because they're just kind of both are very like trippy reads. But so Camp is the writer, and the artist is Eric Zawodzki, and this is a series that crisis events are a big thing in comics, like big universe threatening things that happen throughout Marvel, DC, the big two. It happens all the time. And what this series focuses on, each issue it's an anthology series, so it features when these big universe threatening events happen, what happens to the everyday people that go through them, and what are the side effects of things that happen during those events. And that's why it's Assorted Crisis Events. This one, it's awesome. It's a really, really interesting complex issue that deals with like kind of heavy issues, but all right, so the premise of this one is there's a town called Hearth, and there's Hearth 1 and Hearth 2. So there's two different Earths, and it features the same town from both Earths. On the one, their planet is dying slowly, and they don't feel the impacts of what has happened to the Earth. On the second one, that process has been expedited, and there's like apocalyptic like events happening on the planet, and it's just a very, very dark place. And there is a way that some of the residents of the town of the apocalyptic version of what's happening or like Earth 2, they find a way to open a portal, or they discover a portal that they could then go to Earth 1 in their town. So you have families from the Earth 2 who have survived this apocalyptic event, that they are then introduced to their counterparts on Earth 1, who are just like a normal, happy-go-lucky family that's not threatened. And it starts out very much like welcoming him in, like, oh, like you're like a version of me, like I need to help you out. And then it just slowly over time, there's dynamics at play, there's interpersonal relationships, but like so there's some fun things that happen. They're really interesting. So on the one Earth, a lot of people had perished, and some of those people like remarried and had like new relationships. And what happens when those people are brought to this other Earth, where those relationships are like they're neighbors, they're not a husband and wife. And what happens when the other versions of those spouses see what potentially could happen if one of them passes away, and the jealousies that come up with that. And so slowly these there's a distrust and a hatred that kind of like festers, and then it becomes an us versus them, and they get cordoned off, and they have to go to and live in a separate place. The people from Earth 2 there's like a camp where they have to live, and like they keep them all together, and it's just a really fascinating read. It's what can be possible in a comic book that I like when creators take big swings for that. It's very different. It's a very different kind of comic book. All 3 issues have been unique, and they all have been very interesting. And that's there's something special there for sure. Like it's been a surprise, but have absolutely loved the series so far. All right, we come to the top issue of the month, and now We haven't talked about Transformers yet, so clearly that's the top issue of the month. And issue 20 came out. This is the cover A, the Danny Warren Johnson cover A. And then, more importantly for me, I love this cover even more. It's the cover B for Jorge Corona. It is the aerial bots. The aerial bots show up in this issue, and now I don't want to talk about too much. Now, a lot of my thoughts on the issue I shared during the Teletraan tapes episode that we did talking about this issue, and on that episode, spoiler alert, I gave it a 10 because this issue. There's so much going on that it features the things that I love most about this series. There's the heart, there's all the motion, the characters involved, their dynamics, big things are happening. A lot of the plot threads are moving forward. It's just a fantastic issue. It's all about you see the comparison of Megatron and Optimus Prime and their leadership styles and how that impacts those that follow them, and just a fascinating issue. Kind of we're leading towards the end of Danny Warren Johnson's 24 issue run on the series, and yeah, it is fantastic. I did that other other video where I talked about where now is a great time to jump on board Transformers, and I still believe that. Go buy the hardcover of issues 1 through 12. That's a great representation of what this series is. And then another thing I bought this month was Volume 3 came out, the trade paperback. So now there's 3 trade paperbacks that are out that collect all the way up to issue 18. And then issue 19 was a flashback about Megatron, and then here on issue 20. So the trades are out there. I would recommend anybody who has any vague interest in to see what the series is about to check some combination of those out, be it the hardcover, which is issues 1 through 12, or pick up the 3 softcover trades to get all the way up to issue 18. So anyway, fantastic series, and continues to be like right there at the top of my favorites of each month. So I think I like this format a little better as to instead of like the weekly episodes, just because it gives me more time to, I think I mentioned this last month, but it does give me more time to sit with things, and then helps me, I think I have more interesting things to say after sitting with them instead of trying to rush to get an opinion out there. So anyway, thank you very much for watching this one, and I will see you soon.